All right. Thank you everyone for joining our 15th Sochology Edu series. We're excited to have a very special guest join us today, and he'll be speaking on the most important asset that we as product managers have to build better products, our customers. My name is Mudassar Bungash, and I'll be your host for today's session, and I'm joined by Amna, our technical director. So whether you're joining us from LinkedIn or YouTube, please post your questions into the chat, and we'll bring them up during or towards the end of the session. Our topic for today is know your customers to grow your customers. And to help us better understand how we can get to know our customers, we're excited to have Ausaf Masud join us today. Ausaf is currently senior manager, product management, and head of growth strategy for small, medium-sized omnichannel customers at Autodesk. Previous to this role, he was a senior manager, product management, and the head of cross-brand customer loyalty at Williams Sonoma. So Osaf, I'm just starting to notice a pattern here of dual roles. Looks like you're taking a lot on your plate. So Osaf has been working in the product domain for more than 15 years and is a subject matter expert in building products with delightful customer experiences that enable companies to grow their businesses multiple folds. He strives to create strategic roadmaps that resonate well with the company's vision and customer needs across all phases of their life cycle. Today, he'll be speaking about different mechanisms to know your customer better and the importance of knowing behavioral trends that can help create meaningful products with measurable KPIs. Asaf, it's a pleasure to have you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mudassar. First of all, really appreciate that you guys invited me over. Certainly, I see how many people are joining, but I would like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to people wherever they're joining from. And as you explained about my experience, I'm currently working at Autodesk, and prior to that, I was working at Williams Sonoma, which was one of our major retailers here in the US. Both have been in product management, but at Autodesk, I'm the head of growth strategy and insights for small to medium business customers, actually large customers as well, but because of the volume, it's lesser of a connection with the large customers. And then prior to that, I was the head of loyalty for cross-brand loyalty program for Williams Sonoma. So in that whole process, what I have learned the hard way, which is usually the way for learning these days, how quickly do you really should understand the strategy or the overall high-level picture of the business before you start building products, right? And that is why I created this presentation, and I named it as Know Your Customers to Grow Your Customers, so that I can help other product managers or strategy managers to quickly understand their landscape and then go forward from there. If there is any question, Mudassar, please, and I can just answer that accordingly.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the things that I really wanted to highlight, and I believe I should just start going because we only have like 28 minutes and I've got a bunch of slides to go over. So let's quickly dig into it. And one of the reasons that I created this presentation and I named it as Know Your Customers is basically, in order to know your customers, you have to have customers in the first place, right? This big presentation or topic is not for digging deeper into acquiring new customers at the moment. That's for some later time. This is handling what you already have and how can you grow them. So I wanted to clarify so that people have a very clear vision of what they're getting into. Get into the customer part, I wanted to focus on product management in general. So if you have read a lot of books on product management or even experienced product management in different, you would have seen a generic definition of product management, such as a product manager should know the what and why and the how to the engineering. But there's a slight different definition of mine when it comes to a customer-facing product management side is right here on the right-hand side. If you're able, and you should strive to get to there, if you can get to know the what, why, where, whom, which is all the W's, and then leave the how for engineering, you are a champion there. This gives you a lot more visibility within your current role. This gives to speak the language that the leadership is looking for. This gives you a lot of visibility, which means a lot of growth, not just for a product, but for yourself as well. And today I'll be walking you through around some of the mechanisms of how to know your customers. In order to start, right, a few things that you do business in general. And the slides look a little bit cluttered because there are no transitions. Transitions are not doing good with this webinar at the moment. So I have to remove all of those and then create a full-fledged slide with text. But I'll keep on pointing out where I am talking about. And please, if you have some issues with viewing my screen, let me know as well. I believe everything is working smooth so far.
Yeah, we're
right,
good.
Sir?
Yeah, we're
good. Good. So many of the times we get into product management understanding that, oh, this is the company that I want to work for, right? Okay, the company might be popular, that's why you got into it, or the products might be popular. But what you really have to understand is what kind of a business model that company offers. This could be a mix as well, but it could be to point out that what are you the product manager for? What is your end goal? What type of a business model you're supporting? It could be retailer model, manufacturer models, bundling, product as service, etc. There are so many different types, shared model, shared economy model, or whatnot, right? But the whole point is you should understand what type of a model you're supporting so that you can build the right KPIs. And when you are creating the products, you can always relate it down to the actual growth for the company. For today's sake, I'll be talking about subscription model because it's quickly relevant to what I'm currently working on, and then we'll go from there. Second is a sales model, which is are you selling your products to a B2B, which is also called a direct selling model, or B2C, or a B2C, right? Or B2B2B, which is all indirect selling model. I'm going to touch on all three so that you can quickly understand what is needed. It also overlaps a lot of information from one to another. So there's no specific way of just like pointing out, only focus on this or that. You'll be knowing that the customer segmentation at your company is done in what fashion. Are they looking at small, medium, large enterprise customers separately, or doing everybody together? So that when you are building products, you know exactly who you're working for. I'll be touching base on small, medium, large to get all of them. Now, secondly, there are KPIs that you should know about your company. Some are leading indicators and some are lagging indicators. This is a little bit confusing terminology. When I also joined, I was like, what is a leading indicator? What is a lagging indicator? But a leading indicator is like, as you progress in time, start observing your metrics, and they start giving you or leading you in a direction that tells where the company is going, where the business is going, where the product is going, such as utilization rates, assignment rates, which we call it DAU, which is daily active users, monthly active users, so on and so forth. These are some of these KPIs that you can track on a daily basis and understand what is happening, whether they are going up and down. However, on the other indicators are, once the time is lapsed, like a quarter or a month has ended, that's when you know what was the churn rate, or what was the revenue, or what was the profit. Those are lagging indicators. That does tell you how the company is doing, but they're already completed. You really can't do much about changing those past rates. Now, moving into customer segmentation. As you are trying to get to know more about your customer, it's very important that you distribute your customer by geo distribution, or such as channel distributions, direct, indirect, product, or even territory. There are multiple ways that you could start looking into your customer data to come up with a similar format like the one that I'm going to show here. Like, it is very important for all of us to know where our customers are. So channel really gives you a good explanation of what kind of an experience your customer might be getting, and how an order value is getting impacted through that channel. Regional distribution gives you a very good idea of where your customers are. Customer size, which is the order value that you could distribute into. These are all samples, customer segmentation. Every company has their own. So, but it's just to give you an idea that the segmentations are needed for you to really understand what you're focusing on. And then, of course, which products are customers using and how much revenue that these products are bringing in.
Yeah. So
the reason why, yeah.
Just a question on this. So is this data that you would pick up normally from the sales organization?
This is multiple. This could be, if mainly it all comes from finance, right? Because finance is already reporting all these numbers on the QBR, which is quarterly business reviews and their Wall Street and all. But it's important to get a hold of this data, right? Like, how are they really reporting? Usually, by the way, that's a very good question in the sense that mostly when you become a product manager, depending on the level where you are most of the time you're a task or a product to build. You're given a team to engineering team to work with, right? You are focused on that goal, and you just take a deep dive and you towards delivering that product. But it's very important for you to stop, take a step back, really understand how this product is going to help the company, right? When you are setting up your KPIs, you can talk more about it. You can convince engineering. You can convince leadership if needed. You can convince other leaders in the company when you have all of this information available. Now, trust me, there's a small saying that I have created myself is to really summarize years of information into a small slide deck. It all looks like common sense, but in reality, it has taken building that knowledge like rocket science, right? So when we present it and we talk about you got to do this and you got to do that, they're like, oh, and it makes total sense. But just collecting that information, as your question, Mudassir, it takes months sometimes. Getting alignment as well, that what America is for finance, what America is for marketing, what America is for product, also makes a difference. Is it just North America? Is it South America inclusive? So all different definitions need to be cleared up, but you have to find alignment to get to a similar view, which everybody agrees on. Did I answer your question, Dasha?
Yeah, for sure. And I think you raised a great point too, right? I think once you've done your homework, gotten the numbers, you actually end up building credibility as well, right? Not only are you better informed to build your product, but you're building credibility with,
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. And when the time comes during the product where our challenges completely help to solve, when you are going down from a full-fledged product to an MVP, which is a minimum viable product, you understand the impacts of it a lot better, right? And you see, when you have the number of customers listed out, that is also a good explanation of how many customers will be impacted if we were to change any product feature or capability, right? So moving into another thing that you have to define after this is that what success looks like. Alignment, you're like, hey, why are we really building this product? Is you want to increase the order value? Is it because you want to increase retention rates in a subscription-based world? You want to increase utilization rates, so on and so forth, right? These KPIs are really important to get to know exactly what is going to be impacted and secondarily. So when you have a product document being written, it's very clear in that perspective that this is what we are going to target, right? Aspirational goal of, hey, I'm going to increase the order value by, 15%, but also creating a good, better, best type of scenario where it's conservative, think we can get to a 3% increase. But if we do everything right and everything works better, we can get up to a higher number of uplift. So when you present these in a similar fashion, you get a lot more visibility, credibility within the company at the same time, right? Now, when sometimes you're given a goal, right? That, okay, you have to increase retention or whatnot. You have to think about certain different ways. Like generic growth opportunities in a subscription business can come in many different forms, like acquiring new customers, retaining existing customers, expanding by cross-sell or upsell, and improving customer experience, so on and so forth, right? You have to be very clear about the product that you're building is going to touch what part of this growth opportunity, and be very clear about it and stick to that all the time throughout your project, right? Or the product. So that people know that, okay, product A is being built to target retention, or the product C is only for creating and improving customer experience, or giving the opportunity to the customer for cross-sells or upsells, so on and so forth, right? And then in your thought process, when you want to really understand, there is another big factor, which is also called, these are some generic customer lifecycle examples that I have pulled in from the internet. I just literally Googled it, and then these are popping up all over the place. It's for you to highlight that. But it's very important to see the commonality between all of the product lifecycle listed out. It's different presentations, but in that we all talk about a very simple post-purchase subscription customer lifecycle right here. I made it very linear and straightforward so that people understand no such complexity around here. In a subscription world, a post-purchase experience is very simple. Because somebody buys our product, they onboard, they use it, then come up to renew it, and then if they don't renew it, how can we win them back to continue and coming back into our ecosystem, right? I will focus on the post-purchase experience because that's once again is relevant to my current work. But we can always have a pre-purchase experience listed out as well, and we can do similar type of analysis to get to the results for growing customers acquisition pipeline. Now, there are KPIs related to it, such as onboarding. Are they getting quick help? What's the time for first use? How can we save that customer if they are not getting not engaged in our products, the renewal process, so on and so forth. If I were to start pointing out opportunities in all of these different phases of life cycle, I might end up with that many type of products that I can build for the customer, right? And this slide was created just to show the ambiguity of could you do in a product world, right? The whole idea is not to have that many list of products that you want to build. Let's go back each down to like, 2 or 3 in each. And how do we really get to that point, right? And in order to define what is more important for the company, you have to know the company KPIs. What's the vision of the company? What are they really trying to achieve? That is why I presented all of those in the beginning. So when you are listing out these products right here, you can easily say that, oh, okay, the focus for the first year tactical challenge is X, Y, and Z. 3 is, A, B, and C. And the 5-year strategy could be something else. So that's how you can start splitting number of products that you're working on. One thing to also focus in here is understanding user personas. So you understand who is not just the customer or a user, but within user sets, there are multiple different shades that you can also always highlight around here. Now, easier way of solving this is by understanding a very simple approach that why did that customer originally buy our product, right? When you are clear on it, okay, they wanted to solve their X, Y, and Z problem, then you know that who are your customers, why are they really buying your product? Second is, what about their customer experience is changing throughout their life cycle? Are they enjoying your product? Are they not enjoying? There are ways of reading that through CSATs and NPS. Yep. What could we do to prevent the cancellation or to ease the retention? That's the whole customer experience we will try to identify. And then why did they decide to cancel or continue with our subscription? So you can easily understand this is the reason why our customers are canceling and or continuing. And then what will they do next? Which means if they are renewing it, will they continue to be active? Or if they are not renewing it, are they going to come back or are they going to a competitor or not? There are several mechanisms for getting there. And I've listed down these data sources and customer behaviors and needs. I've split it out into 3 different major categories, such as customer feedback, internal data, and some industry standard competitors. Talking about customer feedback, there is always customer talking to us. It's up to us to really listen to them. We can have surveys such as canceller surveys sent out to customers who are canceling. At-risk customers are surveys are for customers who we predict that they are going to sales representative feedback, right? There are somebody connecting with our sales reps or renewal reps. What are they really recording? Net promoter score, customer. We can do research on each one of those, but these are just to highlight that there are mechanisms that you can start reading data from to understand. Then there is internal data. Now, internal data in a simpler company or a simple business model is very easy. If the number of variables are limited, like dependent and independent variables, such as usage or spend or engagement or product size or order size and so on and so forth. But as they grow, a human mind really doesn't have that capability to look at these many different variables. That's why you sometimes need an AI ML-driven customer behavior analysis. There are algorithms that go in and pass customer trends by geo, by usage, by products, so on and so forth, to identify what is the general behavior of your customer so that you can build a predictive model for the future. There are leading indicators, there are lagging indicators as financial data, and then industry standard analysis in the trade show that you are going into and to understand more about what's happening in the industry. For today, I will just touch on two of those, Cancellation survey as well as AI ML driven customer behavior. What could a cancellation survey bring in? Here's a quick example that you can start sending out a survey to customers who have not renewed your subscription and trying to build the same story that why did they first buy it, what changed in their life cycle, and why are they not renewing. You can start seeing trends, and of course you can always slice and dice it by geo to see what's happening in different geos or different channels. But the idea is that if you are looking at top 5 cancellation reasons over time, like such as the customer is downsizing, that's why they are not renewing, their project is complete, or they don't have the budget, or they're moving to a different, it kind of gives you a very clear understanding of what is happening in that customer landscape, right? So these are the feelers for you that doing something that could help the customer in their tough times for the reason that they're not renewing their products, right? In order to forward with that data, you have to take all of those categories that the customer is telling us and then divide it into controllable and uncontrollable. So you also have to understand, you cannot tackle all of the customers ask, right? You really have to understand, you might have seen user empathy charts, like what are they saying, what are they thinking, what are they doing, what are they feeling? Take it all down into your own company, absorb it in there, and then try to see what can you control and what can you not. Now, once again, that saying comes in very handy, makes common sense, but it's not an easy task. When you really want to put something in controllable, you will have 5 different people coming in and said that's a. So you really have to build that story behind it and put that type of an opportunity in the right bucket, and then communicate it down within your team to understand what else you can do with that. After that, I'm just going to go into the next example, which was the AI ML driven understanding of customer behavior. So that is to feed all that data into these algorithms to try to bring and build some clusters, such as what is the worst cluster doing, which means that the company does not want the customer to be doing, but they are following that behavior, is going to be the worst customer cluster. While customers are the ones who are matching exactly what we want them to do, which is bringing us money, right? The idea here is not to move the worst customer cluster to the best. It's more like how can we improve that? And understanding our current landscape is really important for us to focus on specific, such as usage days, active users, high-end users. These are key factors, right? So you can focus your products on these specific KPIs. You really sometimes think that we have to build the best of the products to be, the most visible and the most, actually not, is to build the products that are highly connected to the company vision, right? And then build the products that really, really moves the needle on these KPIs.
Yeah.
We are almost at 8:24. If there are questions, please feel free, Mudassar.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll just move.
I just have a comment. What I've actually seen work in the past as well is by doing this kind of analysis where you're tracking your best customers and best customers and worst performing customers, and then creating a form where you can actually match those customers together, right? Like we took some of our best customers and we said, hey, you know what? There's some other customers who aren't doing so great, and so we just want to have a conversation. If you can have a conversation together, show them how you're using the product, right? And that actually yielded huge results for us, because they, at a minimum, they saw that, okay, you know what? There's somebody else who's using the same product, but they're getting a ton of value out of it. Maybe there's something we're doing wrong, right? And in most cases, they weren't using the product that was meant to be. There were some small instances where, the product was not a good fit for them, but in a large proportion of the cases, they found that they weren't using the product as intended, right? And you've got those champions that can help actually boost your product, right? So to your point right now, you don't have to build the best absolute product. There's other areas you can actually look at to drive growth.
Right. And you must have heard of the saying, like 80% of the customer use only 20% of the features that you offer, right? The 80-20 rule. So it is true that sometimes people really don't even intent of that product and they start using it. That's why simplicity really plays an important role. But then simplicity can only be created once you start learning about customer behavior. It's all about, by the way, customer means, it could be a user, it could be a buyer, it could be a seller. There's a lot more ways of dividing that. But the whole point is you got to really understand what they are doing, right? Why are they not engaging? So you're absolutely right. Thank you for that comment.
Yeah.
And so these were several mechanisms, right, to get to that. We really can't cover much in 30 minutes, but overall, what we are trying to build is this type of a slide deck, right? Which has why are customer choosing us? You put the top 3 there or top 5 there. What are we learning through NPS, which is Net Promoter Score? Okay, put the top 3 or 5 there. What are cancellation reasons that are highlighting? What is the trend or behavior telling us, right? Why are customers renewing auto renew in general? Proper auto renewal so that you collect and save their credit card, and it makes it easy for renewal process to go through. What is the industry talking about? When you build this slide and then you start reading it, it really internalizes, right? You really understand your business and your customers so quickly. And trust me, getting to this is the longest time. It takes the longest time. It takes months and years to get building this slide with all the necessary information that you need. But if the goal is always clear that you want to get in here, then your talks, your discussion with the engineering, with different teams, with stakeholders is always clear and crisp. And that gets you a lot more better visibility around that, right? Another thing is that also to understand out of this data is what is customer expecting from us, right? It's not just what we want the customer to be doing, but what is customer telling us that, hey, they want flexible payment plans. They want easier access to training. I'm like, oh, dang it, there's nothing wrong with the product. They just need the training. So why don't we just focus on that, right? They wanted better communication. It's simply just increasing maybe a better communication model rather than improving our product. So it's very important to really understand what are their expectations from us. And then the fine line comes in what you want to proceed with. Is it exactly giving the customer what they want or trying to blend it with what you want them to do, but in the same domain as they're asking for improvements? And then once you are going through this entire process, that is when that long list kind of shrinks into specific different programs and projects, right? It's still a lot of things listed out in here, but not each product or each capability or each customer interaction is worked on at the same time. This builds up a very solid backlog of what you want to do in the next 1 year, 3 year, or 5 year, and everybody is aligned on the goals. So that is the reason why we go ahead and build this slide, right? And then eventually, the $1 million question. When you have learned all of this about your customer, right? What do we want the customer to be doing after that, after their purchase? Is this right? Do we want them to increase engagement with our product? Do we want them to expand their portfolio or X, Y, and Z? That also tells us what kind of programs or products that we should be building. Now, once again, very short time to go over all of these today, but feel free to reach out to me if anybody wants to get deeper into this. But the whole idea here was don't just jump into building a product. There is so much you really have to do to understand your customers who are already in your ecosystem, delight them, help them out, listen to them, and then create your roadmap. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, please let me know. I think I ended right on the dot, 8:30.
Okay, awesome. We don't have a question, but we've got a fan, I think. Just want to highlight that, they're always the main video Ausaf. So yeah, I mean, this was an amazing session, right? And I think just to kind of
Who was?
Yeah. Sorry?
I need to know the name of it.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot.
Neil Patrick.
Neil. Hi there. Yes. Thank you, Neil.
Yeah, but no,
he has been a
yeah.
helping force for building a lot of this with me. So I worked with him.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. It's always amazing, right, when you've got your team members coming to support you. So that's fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, I think Ausaf, that was super valuable, right? I think one of the key takeaways for me was, you don't need to build features to advance your product, right? And I've got an example of that. We had a product that had an, after sale onboarding took 3 months. Implementation essentially took 3 months, right? It was just that long of an implementation process. And we didn't get paid until they went live, right? So that was 3 months of recurring revenue that we're missing out on. And not me, but there was another team that worked on that, and they cut that down from 3 months to a self-serve model. And within 3 hours, they were able to go live, right? So from 3 months to 3 hours, and they had that cash coming in, right? So just to your point, like it kind of helped brought that example back up to my mind that you don't need to be a feature factory. Know your customer in and out, the pains that they're going through, and you could drive growth in multiple ways, right? So that was very valuable. Thank you so much. And on behalf of the product community and the product Soch team, thank you, Ausaf.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we hopefully we'll have you on again. So just a quick announcement before we end. We also have a brand new episode of the Sochcast podcast up on our YouTube channel, featuring Zaki Shaheen, who was previously in engineering at Meta, and he talks about the hottest topic these days, of course, building AI products. So you can check that out on our YouTube page by searching for Product Soch. Again, thank you, Ausaf, and to all of you for joining us, and have a great day.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Take care.